You like our new sign?
Yeah, it's so nice.
All right, so the big event and incredibly busy summer for myself, and some of you have seen many of these pictures before, but I figured I'd share with you. Went on 2 missions trips in this past summer, as well as a big family trip. And so I've been out a lot over the past summer. But the Philippines back in April, and then Dominica in July. And so just want to share some pictures of that. Also, we had a huge event here. 4 weeks of a guy named Matt Walter, Tampa Muslim Outreach. He came and gave us some training on how to reach Muslims for Christ. And so that was very insightful. We really enjoyed that. But the Philippines, April 22nd is when we left. And so the Philippines was something of a first. It's the farthest we've ever gone. The longest trip was 21,434 miles, a total of 10 flights. We're on the plane. It took us 36 hours to go from Campo all the way to Butuan. First time we crossed the international date line, and first time to Asia, first time to the Philippines. First time we did a medical clinic in a jail. First time we did a medical clinic in a school. And then, of course, we were in the first time we did it in a municipal government building also. So we went from Tampa to Los Angeles, and then Los Angeles to Guangzhou, China. So that was 15 hours. As you can see here, apparently the Chinese have shorter legs, and that was extremely painful for myself. And that was, when I first saw it, I was like, whoa, really rough one. And so this is us in China. And so we only had like an hour to go from one plane to the other plane, and when we got to the gate, the flight gate, I asked, do we have time to go to the bathroom? They said no, we're going to run on board the plane. So we got off one, got on the other, kept on going through the night. And then we got to Manila. And Manila, we were able to restack our weight luggage because our weight was different. The weight restrictions were different from the international flights to domestic flights. We were trying to minimize our overweight fees. So we pulled everything out on the floor there in Manila and restacked it. One of the interesting things about the international date line, one of the guys that went with this, Louis, he was very excited. He was hoping on the return flight that he would be able to share the gospel a day after the person accepted Christ. Oh boy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So he wanted to be sitting, unfortunately he was sitting next to Christians on the plane on that particular flight, so his dream of that coming true did not happen, but he was hoping that could take place. But we were kind of confused on what day it was half the time when we were crossing back and forth. And then so Manila, we were there for like 7 hours in Manila. And then, we named our medical director, Gina Miller. So that's Dr. Lin. So we had 2 doctors on our flight. And then from Manila, we went to Butuan, which is the closest airport to Inhung City, is where we're going. And then, so this is where we got to first meet Pastor Ruben Ramirez. And so it's something we look forward to for a while, to be able to meet up with him. He's named his church Temple Heights Baptist Church in the Philippines after us. He first found us online, and he's probably going to be watching this. If he's not watching this now, he'll be watching this a little later. So, hello, brother. And so we were able to embrace for the first time there in Butuan Airport, and then he was able to take us, arrange our transportation, and stacks up our luggage. It was I was told it was a 15-passenger van. I don't think you realized.
You were bigger than
You were bigger than
the normal Philippine.
And so we arrived on Sunday morning and went right to church. And so there in church, they welcomed us, welcomed our team. And so, so this is something we were able to present him with a Bible from our church and gifts for his daughter and his wife. And so it was a wonderful time with them. And then I got to preach there in the Philippines.
Yeah, too tall.
There's a better picture coming up.
They're short people.
That's the normal height for the Filipino.
That's right.
Wow.
So there's our team. So here's a better picture.
Yes. Sitting on the bench.
Like your son.
He's listening to you. He's probably going to send me a comment later. All right, so on Monday we held a medical clinic at the church. And so quickly becoming friends. This is his wife, right there, Rose. And we're going to pass out eyeglasses, and another group getting eyeglasses are passed out. And of course, sharing the gospel. And then did a minor surgery there. So this is the team. The church was incredible. They came out and helped us in every which way. They just joined right with us. We just meshed right together, and it was just thrilling to be with them. And you know, anytime you're walking in on total strangers, and you feel like you've known them for your whole life, brothers and sisters, and they just thrilled with us being there, and we just enjoyed them thoroughly. And they understood the mission that we're trying to accomplish, and they did everything for us. The next day, we held a medical clinic in a jail, in England City jail. Pastor Ruben has a Tuesday Bible study with them, so we did a medical clinic on Tuesday. And some interesting stories from the jail. We had a patient, and we had one of the prisoners come up, and Dr. Lynn's asking about, are you a sinner? He says, no, I'm not a sinner. He says, you sure you're not a sinner? No, I'm not a sinner. And apparently he thought for a moment. You got to remember where he is, right? He looked around. Well, I guess I'm in jail. So every once in a while I run into somebody who doesn't believe they're a sinner. This particular one's in jail. Louis was very excited because he got to lead the Philippine jailer in the Philippines. So he was a Filipino jailer with a Philippine jailer story. Anyway, you got it. So he was excited about that. We were able to lead a German man to the Lord. Apparently he must have been there for human trafficking. But they were all the way in the Philippines and meeting a German man. I was able to lead a jailer to the Lord who he was the most receptive. I mean, he couldn't wait to accept Christ. I mean, it was just, you're going through you're telling the gospel, and he just couldn't wait to get there. How do I get to heaven? And, said the sinner's prayer with me, and so I went over, well, do you know where you're going now? You know if you're going to heaven now? And he goes, no, I don't. And so we reviewed over it. I don't think I'm going to heaven. Why not? Well, I just murdered a child 3 weeks ago. He says, well, God has forgiven all things. And so we go through that. So some of those interesting stories in there. In the Philippine jail, apparently they're measuring to see if you're not high enough. Now, after we were with the jailers beat us up in basketball. So we had a fun time playing basketball with the jailers. And so they're just a great bunch of guys and gals. On Wednesday was a travel day for us, and the church had set up a goodbye luncheon. And so I think there was a dry eye in the room as we left. So we exchanged gifts and so forth. From there, we went back to the airport, saw some sights along the way. And then we took a plane from Butuan to Cebu. And then from Cebu, we went to Tacloban. and where we met up with Kim Courtright. She's in charge of Kim Ministries there in Tacloban. And then here's a list of Tacloban.
We are still learning just how bad the situation is in the Philippines, though it's now clear it's worse than we first knew. The satellite imagery shows what's now categorized as Super Typhoon Haiyan at its peak intensity as it slammed into and then moved across the Philippine Islands, sending waves of seawater on land. And it's now official, this typhoon was the most powerful ever to make landfall. Now to the numbers, and these are sure to change because some places are still cut off. The number of those feared dead begins at 10,000. The UN estimates 600,000 people have been displaced by this disaster. The cost of all this damage could be as high as $14 billion. The storm surge completely washed away some villages and towns, and it left a thriving city, Tacloban, and other ruins. That's where we begin tonight.
So that's where we went. 2 years after the fact of this largest hurricane ever reported going in, and this is why Kim Industries made a permanent establishment there. So they set up soup lines and minister in that fashion to reach out to people in need in this devastated area. And so we were able to go to a school that the whole school is damaged and be able to have medical clinic there in the school. Some more medical clinic. This is the first time I think anybody's ever set up tablecloths and napkins, lots of napkins, and had servers for us for lunch. We have the local church or wherever having the medical clinic, they serve us lunch, so we break for lunch, eat, and then continue on and go with the day without having a regular stride. But here they treat us like royalty. We haven't had that before. The next day on Friday, we were at a municipal building, and you can see some of the damage from the hurricane. We saw an entire convention center brand new, where the I-beams were just twisted like paper clips. And you saw that ship that had pushed ashore. We saw the ship. I'll probably go pictures around. And so here we are. And this is the municipal mayor, our mayor. So she was excited to have us there. And we heard her Christ, and the friend that she actually accepted Christ. One of the things that we do, of course, is when we take decision cards from all those who made decisions, we hand them off to local pastors so they're followed up on. They won't just come on in and leave. We want somebody to follow up on them, get them in church. And so that's one reason why we do it in church, is so that the person's actually coming to church, and then they get familiar with the church, and then the local pastor comes in and brings them back to that same church. And so this is a local pastor, but of course we're in a municipal building in school, so there wasn't just a type of church, but this is a local pastor, and he was just beyond thrilled to get all these cards and contacts. And we couldn't believe that people put their cell phone numbers down on our cards and all this information. He split it up among several other pastors, and I've gotten emails from other pastors thanking me. These are pastors I hadn't met before, but apparently he had passed out these cards to help with the workload of reaching out to them. He told me a story of in his church. There was a couple that came into the doors, and he got busy talking to some other people, and wanted to get to them, but they slipped out the doors. Well, I'll see them, next week. Well, next week never occurred for this couple because the storm came in and washed them out to sea. And so he has this urgency that he'll never let somebody go by without having spoken to them about Christ. And so there's a real event. And anybody you talk to in these clinics, they all have lost family members, or so the area is primed for being a spiritual need. We had the opportunity in the chemistry, they have a guest house. And so we took up some rooms, and they were holding another team from the race around the world. They take young people for a gap year. And so we were able to meet up with a squad of ladies. And so we were able to bring them along with us on the medical clinics and utilize them. God always brings people you need to fulfill. We were a small team of 7, and God inserted extra people to help out as He knew we would need. So we were able to treat them to dinner that night as a thank you. And I guess it was the first time that this is the best anybody's ever treated them in their entire 9 months out and about on this race around the world. And so we're just thrilled about the being treated like that. I had the opportunity to go and pay the bill, and so then talk to a waitress and start sharing about Christ. And the next thing I know, all the entire staff of the restaurant's there, and the entire staff accepted Christ.
Right.
So if you don't think it can happen where an entire staff of a restaurant can accept Christ, it can happen. We were basically the only customers there at the time, and so God made sure that the timing worked out perfectly, that all of them were ready and eager and receptive to Christ. Tacloban is where historically General Douglas MacArthur returned, and so this is a monument to his return. If you know anything about the history of World War II, he's walking back to shore, and so this is where that took place. There's some monuments of South Korea helping out during their hurricane. They set up monuments. They left their campsite. Several nations came in and helped out with aid and so forth. And so this is the mass cemetery for all those that they found. I was told that they brought in 20,000 body bags. 20,000 body bags were used. They have no idea how many have lost because many thousands were unregistered peoples. There's a portion of the ship that came to shore that Jesus left as a monument. This is a monument of the Catholic Church for all those who died. Here's the convention center that was twisted apart. We had a little fun. Went out to one of the beaches and took a canoe out to one of the outlying islands, some of the islands. So that was fun. Just beautiful. Then I returned back home. So on this particular trip, we saw 430 patients, and we saw 280 accept Christ. And so I thank you for being a part of that trip. You were tired. Probably the first break we had, and then coming home. Some of the fine vehicles that are there. Some of the food we had, a lot of rice, a lot of chicken and fish, some pork. This was an interesting meal. Dessert is a dessert. It looked like they have ice cream on top and some corn flakes. And then you dig down a little further, and there's corn and then beans and Jello cubes. Like, this is a little strange. It's called a hello. But apparently you're supposed to mix it up. And mix it all together. We were taking it as one layer at a time and discovering something new each time. All right, so Dominica. First time we've done 2 trips in 1 year. So Dominica in July. Dominica is an island in South Caribbean, just north of South America. And so we had a team of 12. And we had, so this particular lady, she was the last one to our mix. And she is from Norway, who happens to be in school in Poland, who happened to be in Tampa interning with Dr. Lynn. And so she decided to join us. So she was great adding to the team. If you could pray for her, she has not accepted Christ. She definitely knows about everything, but she has not accepted Christ as of yet. So we're praying for that. And then we had 5 teenagers go along the trip with us. It made things exciting as well. And Dominica, of course, is extremely beautiful country island. It's I understand that Christopher Columbus, when he described the island to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. He took a piece of paper and crumpled it up and said, "This is what it looks like to display all the mountains and the valleys that Dominica has." Dominica is, of course, translated into Sunday. He discovered on Sunday. This is actually a return trip for me. I was there in 1998 and in 2000. Pastor Ron was there with us in 1998. I did Vacation Bible School back then in the day, and then we returned again in 2016. And so since we were there 16 years ago, we were able to meet up with some old friends, Pastor Philip and Carol Prosper and Remy and Marlin. This particular young man, he approached us and said, one of the two of you, meaning me or Phil, there in the blue, led me to Christ 16 years ago. So he came and approached us. He didn't remember which one, but that was really neat to have someone come up and do that to us. And driving is an experience we're on a cliff, and they have very low guardrail, and so this is how to get down there on the edge. So you have a choice to either hit the pothole or go off the cliff. They also had a storm event last year. Tropical Storm Erica came through. It was a mild storm, but an incredible amount of rain. And the rain came into the mountains. You just washed out the gullies and washed out their bridges. And so that made driving even more treacherous than normal. And we stayed in a wonderful little hotel there about a mile away from our home church. We were able to go to the market, the Capitol building. This is Capitol Rousseau. We were able to go up the mountains and see some sulfur springs. And go to the beach. This particular beach is venting, and so you have warm pockets of hot water. So this whole area is like being a hot tub. Yet the Caribbean is cool, so you can go one to the other, or find a stream of hot venting gas coming up and be warm, and be over here and be cool and be warm. So it's very intriguing.
I think I was there.
Yes, you were there in 2014. And then I had an opportunity to preach. And then they were able to serve us for Sunday meal. We were able to go to a local Fort Shirley. We go to the beach. So I'm letting you know, join us and you can have some fun too. So, we did four different clinics. This one in Salisbury. This one, top view from the mountain. And we just had one of the best stories from this particular clinic is the pastor here, we were able to lead his mother to the Lord. He has been praying for his mother to come to Christ for 40 years. He accepted Christ 40 years prior, and his mother would not have anything to do with it, and would not come to church, but here we came with a medical clinic. She came on and she accepted Christ. So he was on cloud 9, and this is beyond exciting. That his mother is going to heaven, and he doesn't have to worry about her when she dies.
Yeah.
So just very thrilling. And we did our clinic in the school district. That's our host church, and they took care of every need we had: transportation, food, every night. They had a very strong water program, Bible club program. Because these two girls here were always wanting to have a Bible story, and they were quoting me all the Old Testament books and New Testament books, and they were just great. We held a clinic that afternoon in the hotel. All the staff and the owner's family. And then the next day we were in Wednesday we were in Kalahoo, and we were able to have a clinic there. Interestingly, we found some Russian New Testaments. Like, why do you have Russian New Testaments? You're like, I don't know, the Gideon sent it to us. So one of the ladies visiting the church says, I got friends who are Russian back in the States, so she took the Bibles back to give them back up in the States. And again, he was extremely thrilled to get the cards. When we told him how he accepted Christ in this church that day, he just started clapping. And little later on, he told me that he's never seen so many come to Christ in one day. And that and each of the pastors we met with, they all both independently told us that our group is different than other groups. And we're using medicine to come and show that we care, which means now that they, when we then share the gospel, they want to listen. Because we've already showed them we care. And we were able to do Wednesday service. And then Thursday, we're in the Olivet First Baptist Church. And you know, when we ask questions, you know, if you're going to heaven, and if you're dying today and stand before God, and God were asked you, why should I let you in heaven, what would you say? And you know, when you don't know, you just don't know. You want to know, but when you know, the joy is just unbelievable. And this is the pastor's wife. She couldn't stop talking about the joy of what the Lord had done for her. It's like I have to talk to other people. She can continue on and tell them about what God had done. And then the church held a going away barbecue that Friday evening. And then we were back on flying home. The Dominica has an incredible amount of wonderful fruit. Mangoes and passion fruit and bananas and pineapple and watermelon and star fruit and West Indian cherries and almonds and coconut, and it's just wonderful. Just love the fruit there. All the food, fish and chicken and rice. But you know, when we got back to Puerto Rico, the first thing we did was go to get a burger. So we just need to start in Deuteronomy chapter 6, definitely. Yeah, one second. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 6. I hope that was a joy of things for you. I hope it's an extremely busy summer for me. But very, very rewarding. All right, what is Deuteronomy about anyway? Remember it. All right, we'll agree. Moses is making telling his parallel address. We're in the plains of Moab. We've gone through the entire Exodus route. We are waiting right on the eastern side of the Jordan River. We're about to cross the Jordan River. Moses is going to die pretty soon, and Moses knows it, and Moses is giving his farewell address. Basically, what would you tell your family before you die? And these are the things that are important that Moses wants to tell. So first of all, Moses reminds them of the historical events that have all taken place, how God took him out of Egypt and across the Red Sea and through Mount Sinai and saw this battle and that battle, and how God blessed here and blessed there, and how God cursed, punished you here and punished you there. And he refused all of that through chapters 1 through 4. And so we call that his first sermon. The second sermon is what we're in now, and that goes from chapters 4 through chapters 26. And first, we've already seen in chapter 5 where Moses reviews over the Ten Commandments. Remember, the Ten Commandments are in Exodus chapter 20. But here Moses is reviewing over them again. He's reminding them of the Ten Commandments. And a little later on, in the next several chapters, we'll be talking about going over the law again. As is pointed out in Leviticus, it's going to be pointed out again here in Deuteronomy. And so we also see Moses' role as mediator, what his role was. So you can read through that in the first 5 chapters of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 1. Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that you may do them in the land whither you go to possess it. Interestingly, this term here, commandments, it comes from a Hebrew word, the Hebrew word mitzvah, M-I-T-Z-A-H. And that particular word is singular. Singular. So in other words, commandment. So now I'm going to teach you the commandment. And so chapter 6 is a very fascinating chapter in which we didn't have to break it up as we will have to. But it's focusing on the commandments. Moses, first of all, goes through the first 10 commandments, but now he's going to focus on, he can compile all the 613 laws and statutes and judgments and everything down to this one commandment. And I'm sure you know what that is, right? And so here we go. Now this is the commandment. This is the commandment as well as the statute and judgments, which we'll get onto later. So God boils down the entire law to one commandment. And this one commandment sums up all the other commandments. Does that make sense? If you do this one commandment, all the other commandments fall in line. All right? Verse 2, that thou mightest fear the Lord thy God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy son's sons, all the days of thy life, that thy days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as the Lord God of thy fathers hath promised thee, in the land that floweth with milk and honey. Your number one there, by the way, is remember the commandment before crossing the promised land. Remember the commandment. And number two, Israel's faith rested in obeying this command. Israel's faith rested in obeying this command. First of all, we see here that commandments should be kept all the days of your life. All the days of your life. We don't take a little vacation from God's commands, do we? We don't take a vacation from being a Christian, do we? We need to do it day in, day out, day in, day out. Second of all, we see here, commandments should be kept by your children and your grandchildren. By your children and grandchildren. So keep all his commandments and the statutes which I command thee, thou and thy son's son, all the days of thy life. You're supposed to do it all every single day of your life. Your son's supposed to do it all every single day of your life. Your grandson's supposed to be doing it all the day of your life. You need to pass it on from one generation to the next generation, and then you see it in you. And it just starts with you. So if we do all that, what happens? Israel will stay stronger as a nation. Israel will stay stronger as a nation. We find here that thy days may be prolonged. Thy days may be prolonged. Many people will say, well, of course, if you obey God's commandments, you're probably going to live longer than not obeying God's commandments. Because if you're not obeying God's commandments, you're getting into things in the world that are going to drag you down into drugs and alcohol and all kinds of different things. And that's definitely going to kill you. But that doesn't mean that God can take your life early, right? So this particular focusing, so all that is true, but God, this is focusing on the nation. All of you, all the families of Israel need to be obeying God's law, God's command. That way, you will live in the promised land longer. You as a nation will be longer in that promised land. We find here also that Israel will grow larger and stronger. We find here that you may increase mightily, as the Lord God of thy fathers has promised thee. So you're going to increase mightily. You're going to grow stronger and larger. And then you're going to be able to enjoy the land flowing with milk and honey. Israel will enjoy the land flowing with milk and honey. If you obey God's commandments, right? If you obey God's commandments.
See,
Israel will grow stronger. Israel will stay as a nation longer. Israel will stay as a nation longer. John?
Sorry, I missed it. Wasn't following the same mistake.
Sure. Commandments should be kept all the days of your life. And commandments should be kept by your children and grandchildren. Anytime. John chapter 14, verse 21. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me, and he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him and will manifest myself to him. So we have Jesus saying, if you obey my commandments, if you love the Lord your God, he will manifest himself in you. If he's manifesting himself in you, you're blessed, aren't you? You're blessed. Verse 4. Oh, let's go with that. Verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy might. Here we have the great command. Love the Lord your God. Love the Lord your God. And we're going to focus a little bit on this. We've got a lot to cover here. But the first thing we find out here in verse 4, verse 4 is a very fascinating verse. Verse 4 is a very fascinating verse. It's called the Shema verse. The Shema verse. That's H-E-M-A. And Shema means hear. Hear. So what is this verse? Hear, O Israel. Hear, O Israel. Remember how we title how Hebrews title their books? It's with the first phrase of the book, right? That's the title of the book, the first phrase. So Genesis is in the beginning. And so here we have, they call this particular verse the Shema verse, the hear verse. The hear verse. The Shema verse is the central. The Shema is the central prayer in the Jewish prayer book, which is the Siddur, and it's often the first section of scripture that a Jewish child learns. The statement in this verse is the basic confession of faith in Judaism. The Shema is one of only two prayers that are specifically commanded in the Torah. The other one is the Bracha Mazon, which is grace after meal. So two prayers that are specifically commanded in the Old Testament, which is this one, the Shema verse, and the Bracha Hamazon, which is grace after meals. We'll cover that when we get to Deuteronomy chapter 8. This particular prayer is the oldest fixed daily prayer in Judaism. During its recitation in the synagogue, Orthodox Jews pronounce each word very carefully and cover their eyes with their right hand. They cover their eyes with their right hand when they read this verse or quote this verse. Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently upon thy children, and shalt talk with them when thou sittest in thine house, when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, when thou risest up, when thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine heart hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. Thou shalt write them upon the posts of thine house and thine gates. What do you think of all that part, all those verses I've described? The commandments. So we have that central command: love the Lord God with all your heart, right? Hear, O Israel, and observe. Hear ye, O Israel, observe to do it. And they list all these different things that you should be doing. Tell your children, your grandchildren, teach them diligently when thou sittest down, when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, when thou risest up. Thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and upon frontlets between thy eyes. Thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates. What is that telling us?
It's a daily thing.
Daily thing, right? What else? Don't forget it. Continually. You're continually reminded every which direction you turn. You're continually reminded, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Right? Everywhere. God's pointing out every which way you turn, on your forehead, or your hand, on your post, to your children, when you sit down, when you lie up, when you do this, when you do that. Every aspect of your life is taken up with understanding the Lord our God is one Lord. Right? All right, so I got some interesting things on how the Jewish people make this happen. First of all, when they say this phrase, the Jews will cover up their right hand. I assume that's what they hear. They're focusing on hearing the Lord our God is one Lord. The Lord our God is one Lord. Number two, today many Jews say the Shema in the morning and the evening, and that's coming from Deuteronomy 7. Thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt talk with them when thou sittest down in thy house, when thou walkest by the way. And here focusing on here, when thou liest down, when thou risest up. So when they wake up in the morning, they say, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. When they go to bed, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. So they do that when they wake up in the morning, when they go to bed at night, and they have morning and evening services at synagogue, but they do that at various times. Number three, you find that many Jews wear a tefillin on their head and hands during prayer time. Anybody know what a tefillin is? I didn't know until last night. And so here's a tefillin. The little box that they write, the Lord our God is one Lord. Now they don't personally write it, but a little scroll with that is written on it, and it's put in the little box, and they secure the box to their head. And they have another one, here's some young girls, and they have another one they put on their arm, and then the rest of the strap is on their hand. And so they have it on their hand. So that completes verse 8, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and thou shalt be as frontlets between thine eyes. And so that's how they accomplished having the Shema verse in between their eyes and on their arms. They put that in there during their prayers. They wear that during their prayers. So the tefillin consists of two small leather boxes attached to leather straps. The two boxes each contain 4 sections of the Torah inscribed on parchment. These passages are the Shema, Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 9. pronouncing the unity of the one God. The Vahaya, which is Deuteronomy 11:13-21, which expresses God's assurance to us of reward that will follow our observance for his precepts and warning of retribution for disobedience to them. The Kadesh, which is Exodus 13:1-10, which is the duty of Jewish people to always remember the redemption from Egyptian bondage. And again, the Vahaya, which is Exodus 13:11-16, which is the obligation of every Jew to inform his children of these matters. One of the boxes is the hand teflon, which is placed on the left arm so as to rest against the heart, the seat of the emotions, and the suspended leather strap is wound around the left hand and around the middle finger of that hand. The other box, the head teflon, is placed upon the head above the forehead so as to rest upon the cerebrum. And in this manner, our attention is directed to the head, heart, and hand. It teaches us to dedicate ourselves to the service of God in all that we think, feel, and do, and also to teach us not to be governed solely by the impulse of the heart, lest that lead us into error and transgression, or are we to be governed by reason alone, or that we may lead to harsh materialism. Jesus referred to these as phylacteries, which is not what he intended us to be doing here. Matthew 23:5, but all their works they do for to be seen of men, they make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments. Apparently the Pharisees back in Jesus' day would have these big boxes to show how this is what a phylactery is. The other thing that we see here is today many Jews post the Shema on the doorposts and the mezuzah. Deuteronomy 6:9, and thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and thy gates. And so here is the Shema put into this called mezuzah. The Shema is written on a small scroll, which is then rolled up and placed in the mezuzah. And that word literally means doorposts. And the mezuzah is fixed to the right side doorpost. It is placed in the upper third of the doorpost, slanted toward the room that is being entered. This implies that God and the Torah are entering the room. You can see it slanted into the entryway. And I have a picture of a scroll, and then it would go into the mezuzah. Some may put it on every doorpost of their houses, besides their closets and their bathrooms. Many will touch the mezuzah as a reminder of the prayer every time they enter the room, so they touch it and go by and remember the Lord our God is one Lord.
I've seen people do that.
Yeah.
The scroll is checked twice every 7 years to ensure that it is not torn or faded. This is done by a sofer or scribe. He will then write a new scroll to replace the defective scroll. So here we have this command that the Lord our God is one Lord is so important that God made sure that you remember it everywhere you go. This is how the Jews accomplish all that by putting the Shema verse written on their doorpost, putting the Shema verse written on their forehead, on their arm, covering their eye. They hear it when they quote it in the morning and in the evening, and in the prayer services. And so they're trying to accomplish this. They say this all the time. This is the first verse. This is the first passage that a young Jewish child will learn. And first thing they learn, we as a young child may learn Psalms 23 or something like that, but they're learning the Shema verse is the most fundamental verse in Judaism. We're going to stop here. I just want to get through that part for you, the significance of the Shema verse, and we'll find out more of the significance of the Shema verse when we have some of the practical things that Jewish people do with this verse. And this verse is extremely important, fundamental to all Judaism. All right, the Lord our God is one Lord. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and we'll hear it in Hebrew. Let's hear it. This is half the cover there. Eyes the right hand. And so we'll talk about the significance of that second phrase that you saw there, but you haven't read that. We'll talk about that next week about the cup. Any questions or comments? Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. Maybe, like I mentioned, anytime you open scripture and you start digging down, you find more that you never did. Let's look at prayer. Dear Father, Lord, thank you for today, Lord. Just thank you for this wonderful class, Lord. And Lord, just thank you for all the wonderful things you've done this summer. And Lord, we just give you all the praise and honor and glory. Lord, we just praise you for being our God. And Lord, we may have just blessed Pastor Allen, you know, to come. Bless your people. In Jesus' name.
As always, we have some refreshments. We break and then we'll come back.